Everything you want isn't exactly like you think it is. And that includes recovery. What do you mean by that, Rob? That includes recovery. Surely recovery is complete bliss. No. Why? Well, because with recovery, what happens is you think that you're just going to be sitting content happily forever, right? Because you're not struggling. That isn't true. People who recover from cancer aren't either, right? They might say at times, yeah, it's changed their perspective. Of course it does, change their perspective deeply. But you're not just sitting there in bliss, right? Think of the richest person you can imagine, maybe Elon Musk, something like that. Is he constantly happy? Absolutely not, right? Is the person who drives the Ferrari constantly happy? Absolutely not. And I remember once I was speaking to this uh, Uber driver who said to me, if I had a Lamborghini, I would drive around all day happy forever. I said, no, you wouldn't. He said, Rob, you don't know me. I'd go out with my friends just for like years. I'd just be happy all the time. I said, really, you won't. It's just because you haven't had one that you don't realize that. Because after a while, you're just driving around in a car with music on and you'll get bored of it. You'll still enjoy it, like it, but it won't be what it once was. But he didn't believe that. But we know that's true because otherwise, people that had Ferraris and Lamborghinis would be constantly happy and it would equal happiness for life. And everyone would think, that's the only way to happiness. And that's what would happen. And we know that's not the case because there's a lot of people who are miserable with that. But Rob, they're just not enjoying it because they're not thinking about it. No, it gets boring. Everything does. Everything that you can have all the time gets boring, right? Because the brain is looking for something more. Let's use examples that we can all have, and let's use examples of things that we like, right? So let's take me, for example. I like red wine, spaghetti carbonara, hamburgers. Like if I go to Five Guys and have a cheeseburger, a banana milkshake, when I'm walking to that Five Guys, I think, oh, God, I can't wait to have that cheeseburger. I can't wait to have that banana milkshake. It's so good, right? Then waiting for it. Then I eat it. First bit, oh, my God. Halfway through is good. Then it's starting to wear off quite quickly. If you gave me 3 of that in a row, I wouldn't want it, right? Now, that applies to everything. Everything, right? Rob, that's not true. If I just kept taking drugs, then I would get no. You'd get happier and happier to an extent. Then it wears off. What happens to heroin addicts? They have to keep chasing higher and higher highs, and then it becomes monotony of having to get the fix, and then it gets the excitement, and then it crosses over to getting into overdose territory. Your brain is designed like that. Recovery, you recover, right? You're calm. I'm calm right now. But right now, I'm making this audio clip. But what I could be doing something else that makes me happy. What could I be doing now? What could I be doing that makes me happy? Watching a great film. But a great film is only really happy at the points that gets really exciting. Think of like when I was watching Breaking Bad, right? There was a series, I think it was series 2 or something, when they were in the lab. That was fucking boring. I hated that series, right? That it was so boring. It was so slow. But then the exciting bits, they have a build up. It's like adrenaline, excitement, and then it fades out. The same as music does, right? I play songs sometimes 50 times in a row just to get every last dopamine bit out of it. But then what happens? I don't care about the song. Well, then if I haven't heard it for a while, it gives me that feeling again. Life's going to go like that with everything, right? So that means all your goals, dreams, everything is going to go like that. I just went to Barcelona with my girlfriend a couple of months ago. It was a fantastic holiday. Basically, because we were having a great time on the holiday together and we did so many things and it was great, right? But towards the last day or two, I was looking forward to being on my own a bit. And I was looking forward to getting back into working the way I do, right? And that is not just straight happiness. Life doesn't go like that. Now, people who are trying to sell you something like a new car, a new house, will give you the illusion that it will, right? Because that's what they do. They're trying to sell you something. If you look at an advert for a Range Rover, it's a happy couple getting into a Range Rover with the door open, the dog getting in a nice field, and it's all about comfort, right? Or maybe it's showing rain outside and they're all warm and comfy in the Range Rover, right? It's creating an image of happiness. When you go to a house viewing and the house that you really want, the way it's advertised, everything's going to be perfect in that house. No, it isn't. You get food poisoning in that house and you're kneeling over the toilet feeling sick. You're in that house too much during COVID. You get sick of it, right? People who are very smart fall into those traps, even more so than others. When they've got so much income and they think, oh my God, I'll just do up this house, I'll make it so wow. They're doing it up to show it off to other people mainly, right? Because at the end of the day, if you've got a house with 20 rooms, you're only in one at one time, right? Can't be in all of them. And again, what's a house? Somewhere you cook food, somewhere you sleep. Even if there's the most amazing beds in all the rooms, it's a nice feeling, but you'll get bored of it. In sections, you'll be doing different things. It won't be the same as what people think it is. It is never what people think it is, right? Oh, I don't know, Rob. If I had a plane and I was flying all over the world, going to parties all the time and doing fun things and never having to worry about money and never do it, I'd be endlessly happy. No, you wouldn't. Yes, you would have comfort. Yes, you'd have security. Yes, your situation would be much better than maybe your current situation right now, right? It really might be. Hence why people work towards those kinds of things. However, that does not guarantee no boredom. That does not guarantee no plateau. That does not get. How do we know that? Just look at people who are doing all those things. Who's endlessly happy? Think of someone that you think celebrity that you think's endlessly happy. Like if you asked a young guy, 14, he'd say something like The Rock. The Rock's like working literally all the time and like sleeping 5 hours, right? He's literally going from one thing to the next, probably got every 15 minutes scheduled back to back to back to back to back, right? That is going to have loads of stress, loads of bits where he's like, I can't wait for this shoot to end in the next 2-3 weeks so I can see my family. Loads. Think of different celebrities, right? They might have 4 houses, but they can only be in one at one time. Their house where their family is might not be anywhere near the film set or the places they're having to go. What about someone who's on tour and who's having to do like 150 concerts? They're on the road. No matter how much money they've got, they're in a big bus, right? People will say, oh my God, Rob, yeah, but that's so exciting, so different. I'm not saying it's not exciting. I'm not saying that that isn't an amazing life, but it isn't pure bliss, as people say, right? It isn't like that. It is not like that. Anything you can own, your brain will get used to. Anything, right? And no matter how much power, no matter how hot your partner, male, female, however hot they are, you'll get bored. And that goes for everything you can think of. Having sex with your partner for 25 years, even if they're your heartthrob, the person you love the most in the whole world, it isn't always blissful, right? Because life's like that. If it wasn't, no one would ever get divorced. No one would ever get bored of having sex with their partner. No one would ever get bored of having conversation with their partner. That would never happen. That happens to all the people that we think are the most attractive in the world, right? So, not all of them, but it happens to a fair few of them. Now, if you think about that stuff, right, and you really think about it, you learn to not glorify things way out of the box and then put yourself in a position where you're chained to it in your mind. You can feel fucking good at 20% anxiety, 30% anxiety. If I had 20% anxiety now for the rest of my life, I could still have a great life, amazing life, right? People think it needs to be 0 to be completely happy. It isn't. Life's different when you become an adult and you get older. You have responsibilities. You have kids. You have a mortgage. I have a company. I have to employ people that work here, as you know, the people that work here, and making sure that everyone is paid, making sure that everyone is looked after and is happy, making sure that all the people that we work with, which is thousands, are looked after. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of organization. It's like running multiple restaurants all at once, right? It's full on, yeah? So that doesn't mean I'm sitting in a position of just bliss all day long. I'm not. I'm having to make sure, and I work with probably what many people would regard as one of the worst disorders to work with: obsessive compulsive disorder, constant questions, constant reassurance, constant messages, constant aggression, constant anxiety. It's hard. There's a reason why Albert Ellis and many other famous therapists throughout history said they didn't even really want to work with OCD because they found it too stressful. And I'm working with 90% OCD, 95% OCD, right? I'm working with people with OCD all over the world and some of the most severe cases. If I'm really realistic, not blowing my own trumpet, just being a factual, I've probably worked with more cases of severe OCD than anybody in history. And that's not an exaggeration. Why is that so? Well, think about it. I work with people all over the world. So that's through the internet. Yeah, there are other therapists that do that, work with people, but probably I imagine not the numbers. The number of people that attend the webinars in a month is more than attend the OCD conferences in a year. People who have severe OCD, chances are they've heard of us, chances are they've heard of me, chances are they've got in touch. Chances are that if they've been to multiple hospitals and been very stuck for a long time, they're looking to really get better. I'm getting the person who's coming in the door. It's like I had a friend who's one of the top eye specialists in the world. And I went out for dinner with him and he worked at Moorfields in London. And I said, what kind of cases do you see? He said, I see the worst cases of eye disease anywhere in the world. And I said, why? He said, well, I work at the most famous hospital, pretty much. He said, people who've got a rare eye disease have come all over the world to see me. And that's exactly the same case for me with OCD, right? So in that job, you've got to be on your A game. I have to be on my A game. The team has to be on its A game. The team is full on. Everyone in here is 100% full on. It's like people often say to me like, oh yeah, I'd love to work with OCD. People have no clue of what it's like working with OCD. No clue. The burnout rate from the job is very high, right? Hence why very few people, I can't think of any other place works with the number that we work with a team of this size, because it is full on. And anything that you're involved in at a high level is going to be full on. If you're involved in a sport, like a very high level sport, you're going to be probably going from injury to injury, physio to physio, feeling like your whole life, people have no idea what's involved in high level sports. They have no idea. Like if you look at someone like Ronaldo, his whole life is like a soldier. His whole life is in that world. Now, I'm not operating at a level like Cristiano Ronaldo, but if you were watching me day to day, and people who know me, they'll say, Robert has time for you lunch and dinner. The rest of the time, every other hour he's awake, he's involved with OCD, right? So imagine what that looks like 7 days a week, right? Pretty much, yeah? That doesn't mean that I don't go to cinema. That doesn't mean that I don't have a time to relax, but it means that I've got to be on my A game pretty much round the clock. And that's the only way it can be. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be in this position I am today with the work that we do. And I'm very honored to be doing that and have people vested in the work that I do and the work that the team puts out. Now, is that a blissful state? No. Rewarding? Yes. Exciting? Yes. Very exciting, because of this started with a dream to change OCD, and now we work with, I think, pretty much every country in the world bar a couple we've seen over the years. Been doing this quite a long time now, and I see people from military bases in the middle of the sea that I didn't even know existed. I see people from islands that I had never heard of. We see all of this. I see the worst cases you can imagine. People who just come out of a mental hospital after living in there for years. People that have got real disabilities due to what OCD did when they perhaps tried to take their own life. I see all this stuff. And life is not complete blissful. It's like saying to someone working in ICU, is it blissful working in ICU? Absolutely not. It's focused. Okay? So it's never going to be blissful. Nobody has a blissful life. Now, people will say, what are you talking about? Nobody's got a blissful life. What about some person who's inherited $100 million or divorced someone and got $100 million and just goes out for lunch, has champagne, and goes on a boat. Not blissful. What are you talking about, Rob? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you've got a brain and it's going to be thinking of what's next, what else to do, gets bored. So they'll be thinking, I'm bored now of this. I want a new house. I need a new partner. I need a new car. Oh, but those are so easy things, Rob. That's not exactly a problem. Is the person smiling ear to ear? No. So we know that the brain is going to want different things. The hunt is what's exciting. Okay? I'm a collector of, as people know, and as Nick takes the piss out of me, 80s and 90s toys from my era. He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the sealed video games, Mario, Zelda, all that stuff. I've been collecting that for years. And I was trying to work out why I love collecting rare, sealed, vintage toys and memorabilia, movie props and stuff from my era and stuff like that. It's because of the memories to do with it all, the happiness. But you know what it is? It's the hunt, because you're seeking to find things that are very rare and hard to find. And having the things and seeing them and looking at them and displaying them and they're saying, okay, I remember playing this Super Mario Land on the Game Boy in 1992. Oh, this is a rare copy that's in good condition, right? Of course, it's nice seeing them. That's part of it. And seeing all and being able to take it in. Even people who say to me, like, why do you collect that? If I hand them a copy of Super Mario Land and I put it in their hands, they instantly get taken back to that moment, like the rat in Ratatouille when he serves the food to the food critic, and then it takes him back to being a young boy eating the ratatouille. And that's exactly what happens. But the hunt is what's exciting. And I've spoken to loads of collectors over the years that I've been doing this, and I said, what do you love about it? And they say the hunt is the thing, because you're finding something that you haven't seen, then you get it, then it's the feeling of the nostalgia, but it's the hunting for the thing. The same as most things in life are exciting when there's hard work involved. And I always recommend, I work with people of all ages, people of 8, people of 80, and I see all their lives in the different situations. And what I always advise to people who are retiring is try and work part-time or do something that you're really absorbed in. Don't take the idea of just going to Spain and drinking beer, or going to wherever you're going to go and just drinking cocktails or drinking wine. People have different retirement ideas. All are genuinely fine. And people have ideas to go to France and drink wine, or go to Spain and have beers on the beach, or play or be around their grandkids and have no stress because of less stress because of no work. All fine. But if there is not an activity going on that you're working towards, things tend to go badly. And also with wealth preservation for people that are in retirement, if they're actively doing something, that's the best form of wealth preservation, still working part-time. If you do no work, then that's you starts to build negative habits and also leads to losing money in retirement, which people are trying to hang on to because they're not working anymore. And working produces energy. Money is a form of energy. And so people need that to live. And it's important in life to think of why we do things, okay? All human beings are doing things because they need a job to eat, okay? That's what they need. But then they don't just make enough money to eat. They make enough money to do other things. Why? Because we live on a rock floating in outer space for a limited time, and you want to be able to do things in your life. So being proactively involved in things is helpful to your life. People think, if I get to a point of financial security, then I will be content and happy. Wrong. You will feel content and protected against risks that not having any money becomes a problem. But that does not equal bliss or end goal by any means. End goal does not even... some of the happiest people I meet are the people with zero that are actively involved in what they do. Right? Then maybe they work in a bar and they love working in the bar and joking with people and having fun. Working out. If you'd asked me at 18, what do you want to earn and what do you want to do? I didn't give a shit about earning anything over what I needed to feed myself and work out all the time and recover from working out. My dream was to go to Venice Beach in California, Muscle Beach, World Gym, Gold's Gym, work out, eat in bodybuilding restaurants, and just do that relentlessly. I spoke to a guy who was 80s, now got Alzheimer's, and he's very successful. And I said to him, would you like to do it all again? And he said, I'd love to, because I love the grind of it, right? People today want the reward and without the grind, and they think that the reward is the goal. The grind is the goal. Like I try and teach people with recovery, enjoy the journey. That is really exciting. It's like reading books on history. If you just had all the knowledge of it, yes, nice to have the knowledge, but learning the things is exciting. You know, same as if someone just says, I'll give you a summary of the movie instead of going to see it, right? So you've got to think about overcoming obstacles again and again and getting a great ability at that. It's like today, these young crypto bros, especially with this all the crypto stuff going on now, they're like, oh, if I only had the X amount of money, completely fine goal, right? But what people miss is that the excitement of watching things, like for crypto guys, it going up, and the struggle, it going down, it going up. That's the excitement, right? The getting it wears off, right? That does wear off. It's the excitement of the ups and the downs, okay? That makes it exciting. I can't stress that enough. What, so you're telling me, Rob, that even makes OCD recovery exciting? You're damn right. If OCD was easy and wasn't even that hard a disorder, it wouldn't be very rewarding. What makes it so rewarding is how hard it is. Setbacks, coming back from them, are really rewarding, okay? Having kids and raising them through the difficulties, what makes it rewarding. This is so key. People don't realize this. A lot of people do realize it, but sometimes when life is too hard, all you wish is for it to be easier. I can understand that. I've been through many times like that. I completely understand it. That's why I say they're completely fine goals. It's a completely fine goal for anyone to want to be really fit and healthy so that they're not in and out of hospital, especially if they have been. That's a great goal. To have money so they can pay their bills and not have to panic every day. But be careful of that one. Again, I remember I was working with a guy with terrible OCD, very wealthy, and he said to me this. He said, you know, Rob, when I used to have my back against the wall where I barely had any money, that's when I used to perform the best. And I can completely relate to that situation. And I'm not talking about it from a financial position. I'm talking about it from an obstacle position. I have worked with people that are so hard